as you can see, the yeah, we just missed. We are late for like 1 hour, so we're trying to do our best. Hello, dear participants. I would like to salute you all. As you all know, this Congress is not going to be a scientific Congress. It's going to be both scientific and a commercial one. So in the panels, we are going to focus on the commercial side of the Congress as well. And today, we are going to focus on the importance of the place and importance of the Turkish stone industry in the world stone trade. As you all know, Turkey as the reserve country in marble, natural stone, we have a prominent place. So our export should be in that direction as well. But in the previous talks, it has been mentioned that 15, 16 billion dollars worth of exports and granite is included. But in Turkey, when we speak of the natural stone, we heavily produce marble and travertine because, as you all know, this outweighs the granite production, and that's why the place of these products are like $6, 7 billion, and in our $2 billion of export, we have like 30% share in the world exports. And looking at the reserves that we have. Can we increase the exports? Of course we can, and we should, but we should also remember that the products we have, the pricing of our products, when we look at the pricing of the products, the Italy and Spain examples are considered because we are behind the Spanish and Italian products. Yes, we have good reserves, and using our reserves scientifically or taking into scientific research also should be taken into consideration, but also the quarries, the products taken out of the quarries, Turkish stones should be promoted as the brand, and it should be promoted in the world, and the exporters associations, what kind of activities they can realize. We worked on that, and from the sector we had contributions, and we try to move forward with these contributions, but only the competence or expertise fairs, like in America Coverings, or in China Shemeng, or in Izmir Marble, or in Italy Verona, not only participating in these fairs, these are expertise fairs, yes, and the exporters and importers come together face to face, and these are these kinds of places. But we try to look at the bigger picture, and whatever the product is from whatever region, Turkish Stone's brand should be promoted in design weeks or architecture biennales, and we should try to show our products. And we have some examples previously done, and we are trying to do more. And in September 5 to 10 in Milan, the Turkish stone promotion will be realized. It's going to be a library of Turkish stones, like 80 to 100 kinds of stones, and the architects will be given information. the people related will be given information about the stones, and also Miami Design Week, and also in Shanghai, Miami Design Week Shanghai podium we are going to take place, and also in Lisbon, Architecture Festival, World Architecture Festival. We are planning to participate, and last year in World Architecture Festival, it could not be held physically, and it was held in webinars online, and we participated in that, and we gave information about Turkish stones and Turkish travertines and the place of Turkish stone in modern architecture. Our architect Gökhan Karakuş gave a speech, and we had this activity. And in American Architectures Association and internal architecture associations, we try to reach them. And again, in America, we organized a webinar with American Architects Associations. And in that webinar, as you all know, in the US, the architects, they have their lectures, speeches given as credits, and these are important. Why? Because all the webinars could be added to their system as their own credits, and that architect will be taking credits, so it's going to be included into their own education. But are these enough? No, we need to do more, because we have the power, so we can. And the Turkish stone brand, how can we put in a place in the world, and where can we put it? Well, of course, the structure, the infrastructure of it should be ready in Turkey. And the Turkish producers in Turkey should address the consumers from the high-income countries, so that we can produce for them and we can sell our products to high-income countries. Yeah, we have some companies producing really good products, but while using new technologies, all the sector should be directed to a higher quality product and packaging in order to please the high-income clients, so that it can reflect on our prices. In order to increase our prices is only done by increasing the quality. We have 600 design and color natural stones, and each one of them could be used, sold, but the processing is really important. In our sector, we have this saying: if you process the best stone in the worst way, then you cannot do anything. It means that the processing is really important. So the producing companies should give importance to the cutting-edge technologies and processing techniques, so that the product could be sold. Yes, our sector is really processing well, but we need to do more, and we need to do our best, and our producers should be sensitive about that. And in Turkey, our architects use of natural stones in architecture. When they use this natural stones in their construction, they can add value to their buildings. And we, as the Exporters Association, we have natural stone talks with our students. But of course, the pandemic taught us how to use webinars, how to use online, and it's a plus for us because we are saving time, we are saving expenses, because going somewhere physically takes longer time and it's more expensive, costlier. So the pandemic taught us really quickly that we can have quick solutions. So we started to use electronic environments, electronic platforms, and under the name of Natural Stone Talks, we have been having some programs, and we think that they're going to be useful for our students who are going to be studying architecture, and also our president Mevlüt Bey with the Exporters Association, they are organizing a design competition named Amorph. And we also had natural stone design competition. We run that, and many students participated. And we made a change in professional category, and all the constructions, buildings, the projects of those buildings are going to be participating in the competition. So if the projects are ready or if they have already constructed the buildings, these were presented, and that kind of competition will be organized. Why are they important? Because we, as the Exporters Association, we try to use it internally, meaning in our country, but also the architects are also doing great works outside Turkey. So from their years at the university, they start to know about the natural stone of Turkey, and then they are going to be using the Turkish natural stone in the works that they're doing outside Turkey. So it's a kind of infrastructure for them as well. And these natural stone talks, we invited many architects from different cities, and in the different cities, they have been telling about the challenges and the constructions that they did and they have made. And another project, yeah, I told you that we participated World Architecture Festival, and this year is going to be in Lisbon in December. And in the following year, we had a protocol with them. World Architecture Festival and Turkish stones, best use of natural stone. There's going to be a prize ceremony under the name of best use of natural stone, and it's going to be embedded in the World Architects Festival, Design Festival, and how natural stones are used, how much they are used, and if that architect used Turkish stone or maybe another kind of stone. But here, the important point is that the architects who have the culture of natural stone use in their constructions will be motivated and will be encouraged. And if they have never met with the Turkish natural stone, then they're going to be meeting with that Turkish natural stone. And that architect is going to be someone, in fact, it's going to be someone of interest, so that that architect will be encouraged to use natural stones of Turkey. So it's it's going to be a prize of World Architects Festival, Design Festival, and Turkish Stone Festival, so that we can be a brand who can prize people. And we have our protocol ready. I hope it's going to be a contribution to Turkish natural stone. And thank you for listening to me. And I would like to salute you all again. Thank you.
We would like to extend our thanks to dear Aydın Dinçer. I think he has touched upon an important point that we want to create, and because when we gather together with architects and to have a success, we know that the stone adds value to us, and we also are the ones who add value to the stone. And they have important initiatives, as I have also mentioned. In the recently we had an interview with the president of the Chamber of Architects, so that we can also actively involve the architects such projects. Now I'm going to invite Dirakyus to present the plaque to our dear professor, and he has worked a lot in this field. Now, we have listened an invitation to the architects, and now we are going to listen architect Aslı Özbay. She's going to talk about the ones who really take the stone into their heart, and also with the projects they have carried out in Cappadocia. And she's also a friend who puts a lot of effort into Cappadocia projects too. Now the floor is yours. Dear guests, distinguished managers of the chambers, I'm very happy to be with you here right now. Izmir is both important in terms of its commercial volume, and it is also hosting an important and a heavy duty. And I'm very happy being together in these pandemic conditions. Thank you so much also for the invitation. And today, I'm going to give a fast presentation to you. These lands are actually the place which comes to your mind when we talk about stone, maybe which a land which has the richest values of the world. We don't know it a lot actually, and we don't know it, and when we don't know it, we cannot develop policies that will improve it, like it's the case in the protection field. So knowing them is important. So let's talk about them. Forward, please. Okay. Yeah. You will listen for 4 or 5 days about the reserves or the commercial things, and with the latest data, I think I know you will all listen things like that. And these reserves are actually not only, let's say, not only engineers but architects are aware of. We are living in these lands, we have been living on these lands for thousands of years, and we know, let's have a look how these values is used, are used throughout this history. And we live in a country like that. So it hasn't been a lot actually in the world history or humanity history. Let's go Göbekli Tepe, which takes our history back to 12,000 BC. If you didn't visit there, I highly recommend you to visit there. It has been built with a very precious calcite stones. So when it is not only a museum you can pay a visit, you know, around it there are many ruins like Göbekli Tepe, which whose meaning we still cannot reveal. So the reason why it was constructed that 12,000 years ago, they thought that there will be a long there is a hard limestone quarry here which will last longer, they thought, the people there. So our friends also talked about huge quarries in the history run by on these fields, and I think it's possibly that around Göbekli Tepe maybe there are more stone quarries that will be revealed around Göbekli Tepe, because it is carved and embroidered in such a way that it goes back to 12,000 years ago. It means that they did know the material well and they processed it well. And Hittites are, of course, also equals to this richness, both with their sculptures, both with their tablet stones and the documents we can reveal from that, and so that we can know that in these ancient lands, especially in the central Anatolia, a giant culture and very important culture which mastered in processing stone are giving us the messages. We still don't know it a lot, actually, too. Thoroughly, I can say. And these vital Hattushash findings, for example, shows that it dates back up to 1600 BC. And when you enter into a city and see a sculpture today, let's compare it with the sculptures you see in Hattushash and the quality of that. I want to draw your attention to the quality of the sculptures here. So, of course, the west coast of Turkey is another universe. It is we know that which glories these iron cities have, and we all know it actually. Well, we are excited with the scales and embroideries of these stone processings. It is something we cannot refine well, even with this technology today. Wherever you go in the Aegean region, you can see many different kinds of these mastership. And of course, they are not still sure that whether it started with colored pebbles or they cut it and processed it, but before 2nd century BC, both in Hatay and both in Zeugma products are not only the things that reveal how they use the stone, but how to use it in fine arts, in mosaic arts. It shows that the point they have achieved in their mastery. So we see that different 600 colored pebbles, we have a scale like that. It is not an exaggeration. We see it in the 2nd century BC now. We are seeing masterpieces of these stones now. If you didn't visit also I also recommend you in Harran excavations. We have a magnificent castle here and also the things inside it. So it is also fascinating. And 40 kilometers behind it, there are also a great stone quarries. I think our speakers also mentioned about that. And they hosted many different civilizations, and it has also multi-layered excavations, and of course Rome again, also in terms of structural and architectural masterpiece. Of course it is a point, but Seljuks are also masters in this area, we can say, especially in the eastern lands. For example, we have a breathtaking sculptures, gravestones in Bitlis, Ahlat graveyards. You see an ancient craftsmanship turned into a fine art product, and the stone artisans are doing this. For example, in Sivas Divriği Cami, you can also see a huge and magnificent stone mastership here and stone masters. The motifs of the Cennet Gate, for example, are still taking our breath away, but we still again can research on what these symbols means, etc. Whether we know it not, but in terms of aesthetic values and in terms of architectural values, it is a milestone, we can say. And it's not only found in the masterpiece, in the civil tissue also, stone is again vital, both in terms of structural, both in terms of architectural, and both also with the decorations which have different symbols and meanings. The civil architectural tissues are also, of course, very important in terms of, for example, when we talk about Mardin in terms of civil architecture, because it represents a milestone again in terms of decoration. You see a very neat and we cannot say that actually. We cannot protect it well. We do not raise it. We should promote them, because civil tissues are not drawing attention like the masterpieces or monuments in terms of doing researches, etc. But both for a professional context, we don't know it, and we also are not skillful enough to represent and to show it, to reflect it to society. People just only see it as a decoration, but it's not like that, because they are talking with us actually. So we have to reveal the meaning behind them and reveal their beauty more. This is a picture from Aksaray Sultan Hunt, the details of the Sultan Hunt, and these skills where the different eras of Islamic period are represented, and it shows a different language which is embroidered in this stone, like an embroidery. Is my voice okay? Okay. Okay, I think it's okay. You can see also mukarnasas, and you can see the niche here, and also there are alternating stone usage here, actually, influenced by the Eastern language, for example. It can be enriched a lot. When you enter into a Diyarbakir house, for example, you see a different view, but everywhere it is different and it's unique and it's wonderful. They all seem like a decoration here, but stone is also used as a constrictive material and which opens an era. For example, let's start with Colosseum from the Pantheon, for example. The invention of the dome here, the Dome of Rome, and also then, of course, the Hagia Sophia dome we see here, which continues this constructive element, and then we can see it where it carries the mass construction into a different level. So, of course, when you have a look to the dates, now in these, how we can do and construct these such domes with artisanship and with mastery and with skills. It's not also easy in terms of architectural context too. Yes, Hagia Sophia is a magnificent, inspiring masterpiece, of course. We all know that. And, and with Hagia Sophia, we know that these stones are carried and transported with the upon commercial roads, and many pillars of Hagia Sophia has been transported from different locations of the empire, and they used rich and beautiful stones because it was prestigious throughout history, and all the managers and all the actually emperors attached importance to it. And also we see it in Greece, for example, and also in Italy. In San Marco mosaics, you see stones transported from Anatolia to Italy, for example, and you see that these stones are used here in these mosaics or in basilicas. Of course, they didn't carry mobile phones with them, but in this era too, they also make use of the resources of the others, and they were also aware of what they can use. And the architects of this era also were the trendsetters of this century too. And of course, in Florence, for example, Duomo has also a similar situation. It has a long-term construction period, and Duomo, as you see these white and orange stones, the alternating use of these stones are showing a magnificent and glorious view, and it also shows the design, long-term design process where these different styles are used by the architects. And another point is seen in Topkapı Palace in Istanbul, for example, because Topkapı Palace has many different colorful stones, and different kinds of stones are both used in pillars, in walls, and again where you can see the traces of stone transportation and commercial roads of commercial transportation roads of stone. Of course, it's not enough, and it is also they have in Topkapı Palace also had some stone warehouses because it is these stones were used a bit somewhere else in different parts of the constructions in different parts of the empire. For example, Sinan the architect used it. Rosso di Verona, for example, the Verona rose is called as this stone is called as the Rose of Verona, and it was used in Sulaimanian mosque in 7 pillars of it, and some residues of it are also used in the window frames and window decorations of that, because it was so scarce and it was so precious. And the residues of these ruins of these stones were also used in Gebze Çoban Mustafa complex, which were also transported from the warehouse of Topkapı Palace and also from Egypt. And so this complex also used many different colorful stones and some brave styles of using stone there. An important monument too. Yes, you can see that stone in such a delight and in a delicate way, processed in a delicate way, that you see different examples in it throughout Anatolia. For example, it is found in Sivas Darüşşifa. It is an interpretation of Çöpür stone. It is a frame from a Diyarbakır mansion and also from Topkapı Palace. You can see these carvings of the stone, or in Kayseri mansion, for example. In a mansion in Kayseri, and in the afternoon session, you will listen Cengiz Bektaş session in Kuzguncuk Meseret Sokak application. You will talk about that in Cengiz Bektaş session. Another usage of these examples can be also found in Kuzguncuk. This is a way showing both the light of water flowing throughout the stone so that they can enlarge the light and also enlarge the voice and enhance the volume of the water, not only creating a warm or climate throughout the mansion or in the yard, but also showing how this ancient culture is interpreted in different cultures in the area. For example, they have fountains, some bird cages, or many of them actually having a value, a quality of a sculpture, even we can say. So they all know how to construct the stone in the best quality way, we can say, and we live on these lands where they mastered in this area. As our friends also said before me, this is the extraordinary geography we have met with our professor who introduced me. Cappadocia, it's a very special place. I think it is the most special place of the world to me. And this special place, for long years, even from the 17th century or 18th century, actually were mostly under the ground, and they created life underground. All the other wood or stone constructions you see on Cappadocia are new things actually, but unfortunately the destroyed castle ruins, the castle is here, as you can see the plan of it. After the cleaning the castle, you can see the tissues of the models of the cave mud tissue we found. We couldn't protect the upper levels, but underground we have a 38 stories underground map. So maybe it is a relief, but we have mapped these 38 stories underground. And you can see some hints from the ancient life culture of Nevşehir and Cappadocia, where we can research on more. And this is a huge document we can say we can work on. And of course, the inner interiors of this geography is also magnificent and like a sculpture, which gives you a huge affection. And you see they are destroyed, and you can find some evidence of this. For example, Beziria, this oil is an important. You can find the linseed oil workshops there where they produced it, and now also you can see that Nevşehir is the only giant project that the Ottoman Empire attached importance to. You know, the Ottomans didn't pay importance a lot to the central Anatolia, and with the influence of Damat Ibrahim Pasha, and with the political conjuncture throughout these days, they created a new location in a 25 years of period, like between 1704 and 1729. But we still don't know the upper levels of the ruins on the upper ground. And I think there are many academics here, and this needs still an academic an academic research. These are huge caves here. Maybe there was a huge soldier base there where it was created like a new security headquarters. And in 25 years, they constructed in a multi-story and a great city, actually. It's also interesting, and we have to shed light to this project too, I can say. It is actually near zero.
And this texture has its own symbols and delicacies, and people know that they are Greek houses However, these symbols come from the Sumerians and Hittites, and they have been used in Anatolia. And when you think of Anatolia, you cannot just talk about one understanding, one point of view, so you cannot understand it really well. And that's why we should know what our legacy is. And I'm going to talk about Uçhisar, and it's one of the unique villages of Cappadocia. And within this elliptical area, this neighborhood is completely destroyed, and it was under the rubble. And starting with 2000, the cleaning and the excavation studies, we had interesting locations, and one by one, some of them are restituted or restored, and they have been given to the use of people again, and they are really nice places to be experienced by people, and they have a great place in tourism. And from these research, that what we have learned, that details or the special windows and the grid windows and some doors are used, and it could be, the Cappadocia stone could be processed easily. It's a soft one. So new kind of door frames and window frames and rails are produced. And the Cappadocia stone, it has been believed that there's a lot of Cappadocia stone, and it's been used thoughtlessly, carelessly, I would say. But all the villages of Cappadocia are like towns, you know, they are becoming bigger towns. And the building that I'm showing is one of the modern works that we have built. And generally, I wanted to show you the general use of that stone, and it's just random search. In fact, if you search it randomly, you can see these kinds of buildings. But from the pictures that I have brought, I mean, from the past to the present, it's like a heartbreaking reality, in fact, because the using of this stone like this recklessly, I would say, is really sad, because in order to increase the quality is really important, and our previous speaker focused on that and mentioned that as well. So and what we have done in a neighborhood which are full of the previous buildings. So in a town, the briquettes and, you know, those kinds of stones like gas concrete are used with that special stone. And in Cappadocia, in Ortahisar, there are storage areas. They could be carved with that stone, and with high technology, they could be like powder stones. But in the past, they could be of use of other uses. But these potato chips, or, you know, some big companies, in order to store their products in those warehouses, in those storage areas, they can store all the products. And the Netherlands, for example, can buy these storage areas, warehouses, thoughtlessly, and they become powders. and all the debris, all this rubble are lost. And within a waste recycling project, all this rubble could be maybe reused, and maybe for that area the rubble becomes waste there. So I wish it could be recycled, because that stone is really light and soft, and it's really preferred by the US for making use of fireplaces. But in 2 years' time, they become like softer or like rubble. Why? Because of the climate. And if the Cappadocia quarries, if they are distributed to the world, if they are sold to the world, then we are not going to have any more of that natural stone. And in the architecture, use of this is really important, and we have the similar problems. The restoration in tourism sector is frequently done, and quality restored places are marketed really cheaply to the world. In Italy, 1/3 of rooms are worse than 3 times more expensive. In Turkey, you pay really less, but Italy protects all the area as well. But what we do is just we are trying to restore the hotels, the tourism areas, but the neighborhood is not protected well. So our restoration and tourism challenges are really important, and these old age lands and the values have been known for ages. We should use this material in a really important way, and we should consider the value of our stone that we have in our lands. And thank you for creating this opportunity to make us try to make the people aware of the natural value of the stones. Thank you very much. I could listen to Aslı for days, because she has mentioned very important points, not only for architects and academicians, but for society in Anatolia, in every corner. Thousands of years ago, how they did, we are really surprised at what they did at that time. And when we think of Harran or Carrara, and 6,500 years ago, what they did, and Göbekli Tepe has been mentioned. I have seen the quarries, and the excavation head will be here on the last day of the fair, and in this project, $21.5 million, Harran Orion like lighting will be done. And if every one of us could see Anatolia, we can see what they did years ago. And in Diyarbakır, for example, in Asur and in Sindh, we can see the symbols, and in Göbekli Tepe, we can see the same symbols. Now I would like to give you your plate for your contribution. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, I would like to take you to another route. Stone is heavy where it is. It means that it is valuable where it is produced. And the natural stone has been the most prominent value of the capitals of Anatolia. And I would like to invite Erdoğan Yüzer. And from Istanbul Technical University, Geology Engineering Department. Thank you very much. So, the natural stone has been made tiaras of Anatolian capitals. Thank you. Distinguished participants and stone lovers, what's the time? And so thank you, because the program has been delayed, and thank you for your patience. And in such a congress, I am the third time speaker of this kind of congress. And first of all, the architects and geology engineers have become together, and I believe that this congress has started successfully and it's going to finish successfully. But as I mentioned at the beginning, while I was planning my talk, I had a different program, and I had a plan of 50 minutes of presentation, but because of the delay, I would like to make it shorter without delaying you all. And while coming here, I remembered an anecdote of a previous minister, and I was confused, so I was thinking of starting my speech, and I thought that, I thought that the speech that I was going to make, in Turkish, there's a saying, whatever I'm going to say, God knows and I know, but now only God knows. So, in such an organization, being in such an organization, participating in such an organization, I would like to announce my pride, and I would like to thank Mr. Çalapkulu for inviting me, And I would like to thank people working tirelessly in his team. There are over 60 people in that organizing team, and I know how difficult it is to organize such a congress. And in this presentation, I am going to mention 3 dates: 1961, 1991, and 2001. What is 1961? It's my first meeting of my I met Stone for the first time. What is 1991? In Sevgi Yolu, İsmet Paşa Street, a handful of Stone lovers they started their activities with a bunch of people that we started this stone research, and for 30 years we started this stone search. And the capitals of Anatolia, there are 3 keywords. And I'm going to try to tell about Anatolia with a book title, and the cradle of civilizations as Anatolia. We can define that. And from Africa to Ankara, there was a walk, and the previous speaker, Aslı Özbay, eased my speech, and she made my speech easier. And from natural stone examples, while choosing this slide, because I don't know what to say, how to start, let me start with the qualities of Bursa. That's why I have chosen this slide. Why Bursa is important? Because Bursa is the first capital of Ottoman Empire. But our chairman said that maybe we could talk about Bursa in another congress. So let's talk about another or other capitals. So the capitals that we are going to mention are going to be more, and this is going to be our title. And it's an Anadolu talk. Why I say that? Because I'm impressed and I'm very much influenced by this book. The stories and realities land Anatolia, and each and every one of us are the children of this land. I am just giving you the title of this book. And I read this book all along my life, and in one chair you can put love, and another on the table I put respect, and the other chair has loyalty, and these are my feelings. And there are 3 titles. The first one is the footprint of human beings from Africa to Anatolia, 3,300,000 years ago. And then the second one is prehistory locations, And the last one is from past to present Anatolian civilizations. As you all know, it has been known until now. Generally in the world, and specifically in Anatolia, it should be mentioned in that parenthesis, until now, as it has been known until now, because I'm sure that 50 years later or 100 years later, it's going to be changed. So according to the new findings, either Africa's another corner or the route of immigration from Africa could be changed. So during this talk, there are some parts that I would like to underline. Very few people, I'm sure, have seen this. What is it? 20 years ago, from now, an academician in an Anatolian university, a geologist, has wanted to announce a finding to the world. In a travertine quarry, a fossil in 20 years, this is the latest publishing, and 8 country publishers have become together, and they have published an integrated reconstruction of the early Pleistocene paleo environment of Homo erectus in the Denizli Basin. And they have become together, and made a written an article. And 1,200,000 years ago, how many people know that Turkey or Anatolia was a transition country? How many people could know this reality? So very few people know about this. So please, let's try to respect and the science, knowledge, and information and findings. 2 years ago, I have heard that Homo erectus was exhibited, starting with Homo sapiens. I visited the Tiflis Museum, and in Turkey, I mean, it has a quality that I have not known, that there was one example of in Turkey. So this is really important, that the human beings' travel started from Africa, and step by step you can have a chance to see all these starting points. And we know that the first shelter of the human beings are caves, but we should remember that the caves are karstic hollows or voids geologically created. Human beings started to shelter themselves in those caves, and then they started to process and improve hand axes and try to protect themselves. And there are some caves, Karayin Cave, or in Istanbul, Yassıveren. and it's going to be put under danger because of Istanbul Canal, but I'm afraid to say that, and those human beings use that sledge as the carving instrument and the hand axes. And most of us, or maybe few of us, know that, or we should learn that info that I'm going to be presenting you this visual. In Ardahan University, in the east part of Anatolia, a group of archaeologists with their research, at that time Anatolia was a center of trade of arms, and those arms, those weapons, in which routes they have been distributed to the world. If a scientist is curious, he can learn what kind of richnesses Anatolia has. They can learn, and these are the hand axes, and in Niğde and in different parts of the world there are some studies on this topic. And another science department has started to be improved, geoarchaeology, and the geologists who are curious in archaeology, who are interested in archaeology, started to have this, and also geoanthropology is also another department of interest.
And our trace in this Kula, for example, in region, is the first trace of human in the Anatolian region. So this is the first term is, so first stage is completed. So let's have a look about the settlements in the prehistorical era. I have to say that it is one of the most important moment of my memoirs in 1979. This is Keban Village. It is under the Keban Dam right now, near Kömürhan Bridge too. In 1961, this is a picture taken there. It is an adventure we have took with my Kemal professor and some of my friends who passed away. And these are the areas where we set the road. We started from Keban and started a journey for 500 years. And in every 2 months period, especially the Keban in the first place, and we have visited Keban, Karakaya, Atatürk, Birecik, and Karkamış dams. This is the region of the dams. The lake areas of these dams were researched. And why we have done it? Because it was a gap project, you know. Mr. Demirel, one of the former presidents of Turkish Republic, interpreter's note, have created this, and if he didn't create this gap project, we cannot found Göbekli Tepe. Why? Because we had some immediate excavations started, and then first these excavations revealed Nevala Çöri ruins, and then we have learned that the archaeologists working here went to Göbekli Tepe and started the excavations with the findings he found around this area. So with these saving excavations, we have revealed the history of Anatolia. But this is not the last point. After these research, after these works, maybe 20, maybe for 30 years, we will rewrite actually the history of Anatolia, I think, with the excavations that will be done in the future. And Nevala Çöri is on the Fırat river, and it is under, again, the lake. waters of the lake. This is a picture of the lake and the ruins before the lake. And then you see Professor Klaus Schmidt here, who visited first Anatolia and then came here and started the excavation. And he thought that if there are some ruins here, there must be something else around it. And then he started Göbekli Tepe project. Of course, it was a hot topic, of course, when it was revealed, but I have to repeat. It is not the 0 point of Anatolia. Maybe we can talk about it like that, but I think we will have some points which are earlier from this era. And Göbekli Tepe, of course, has been, I think, a topic for more than 30,000 articles, I think. But with Klaus Schmidt's works, I want to recommend you to read Klaus Schmidt's book on Göbekli Tepe. But also, as Turkish society, we have to be more curious about that, because the first foreword of this book was written in 2005 in Urfa by Klaus Schmidt, by himself. And he has been to Germany, and it was a bestseller in Germany. It was 2007. We were not so curious about that in Turkey. And then 10 years passed, and it was announced in 2018. So the person who attached great importance has announced the importance of this work in 2007, but we have waited for 10 years to announce it again throughout the country or to promote it. So we have to remember and repeat his name more and more. Well respected. And you can see the stone quarries around Göbekli Tepe. I think Friday, Seyfi Kulaksız will talk about that, I think, in detail. And with Göbekli Tepe, we have also, of course, some well-known examples. We said that Anatolia is the place which breaks the stereotypes, which breaks the memoirs of everything. So, and these around the areas around this circle, the excavations throughout this circle is another point we have to research more. So let's see another wound of us. Hasan Cave. Hasan Cave is not now there. It is under the waters of Ilısu Dam. We couldn't save it. It is near Tigris River, you know. It was the capital of, actually we can call it as the capital of cave age. So the ruins, you cannot see the ruins of the city, you just can see that Ilısu Dam. This is the new Hasan Cave. So we couldn't save it with saving excavations, but we can do that, for example. This is Simbel Temple. It was near the Nile River, and around 1970, before the dam of Aswan was built, it was assumed that it will be left under the waters of the dam. So then, with the help of the other countries and with the announcement of UNESCO in 1970, this temple, which was around 300,000 tons, were departed in parts and carried around to another place, to a higher place, so that they can reconstruct it well. But we couldn't do it as Turkey, because we couldn't say it to UNESCO to do it, because UNESCO, for example, would want this place to be reserved like that, but we didn't make a call to them. So the thing I said before, another document, now it is 2019. The European Union Turkish delegation published a leaflet, a magazine called as Tohum. This is a picture from the journal from Diyarbakır Körtüktepe. It is said that it is dated back to 10,400 BC, which was 400 years earlier than Göbekli Tepe. And they said that we can reveal it. So it is something we also proud of. Çayönü, Aşıklıöğüt ruin excavations, Boncuklu Mount, Çatalhöyük are the things we are proud of with the excavations and resurgence and with the works of James Mallard and Halet Çambel, of course. And Halet Çambel is proud of Turkey, of course, we have to say. And James Mallard also put a lot of effort to Turkey, especially in Çatalhöyük, and he has to be respected well. We have to say that he deserves that. And this is let's see the last stages of Anatolian civilizations. Our point is Troy, to move on our researches mostly. And the point we reach is Ankara. We started with Troy and then we reached to Ankara. So the important civilizations of Anatolia have been the capital of many things in the world. So we will talk about its examples, of course, of the examples from these civilizations. But the key point here is finding, actually, the findings of cuneitic writings. All of these examples we are going to talk about are written on tablet stones, on natural stones, etc., with the cuneitic forms or writings. And of course, we can see it in the white capital letters in the map. These are the capitals of these civilizations. And I want to say that Anatolia is the area where the value of stone is well known throughout the different eras of history, when we start from the east to the west. The civilizations in the eastern era, the eastern civilizations used it mostly basalts, and central Anatolia mostly used volcanic tuffs, and the western civilization used mostly white or colorful marble, we can say in general. So let's talk about the examples of them in some examples. I just selected some of them, of course, in order because this selections was hard for me to select, to choose, because we have many different precious examples. In order to shed light on it, I couldn't decide on which parts of that I can choose. So, let's talk about Troia. The Homer's Iliad is not a love epic because it's also an epic of a commercial center. It was a junction road where civilizations meet, and so it is a story. It is not only a story, but it is also the story of a geographical location. It is in the inner part of the area, far from the sea, and you see Troy in the inner part of the land, but the sea was filled with the alluvions. So that's why we see Troy in the inner part of the land. So, because of the meandrous rivers, alluvions filled the land. So, under the underground of Troy area, you see mostly round-cut stones, where the stones collected from different areas of the Troy area. But in the upper layers of Troy, you see the stones cut, not with the round stones. I'm going to talk about another archaeologist, but I want to criticize him. Who is that? Hülman. According to Hülman, according to the Westernmost, the one who revealed Hülman. But how he revealed that? he robbed it, and his wife, Sophia, the Greek one, has some golden necklaces upon her neck and displayed it that this is Troy, she said. But where are these golden necklaces? They are not here. They're not here in Turkey. It has been transported to Germany, then Russians robbed it, and then took it to St. Petersburg, and now it is in Moscow Museum right now. So Troy is coming nearer to us. We hope that, but it's not like that, of course. But the one who revealed Troy, and that must be respected, is Manfred Osman, we have to say. He was the person who even chose a Turkish name, who loved this land a lot. And he has to be respected a lot. And chosen as Turkish Science Academy as the professor or the board member of it. And according to his will, his grave, he said that, dig my grave nearer to Troy area. And there are many legends about them, especially. Whether it was true or not, but we don't know that. And so, the one who revealed Troy is Heinrich Schliemann, but he doesn't deserve the respect, we have to say. Who deserved the respect? I think Manfred Osman. Because he needs to be criticized, Heinrich Schliemann, and Manfred Osman is the one who should be respected. So, as you see here in Hattusha, for example, as Miss Aslı also showed, these are the basalt stones, and most probably we are working on them, and the civilizations used these basalts in different cutting ways. In Gaziantep, in Zincirli and Yesemek, they used them in sculpture workshops, and they transported them from sculpture workshops in Antep to Hittite civilization. How they transported them? This civilization, it shows that they have some unique transportation skills also, and the settlement of the Hittite areas is seen in these pictures. I also showed seen them in the museum near Hittite. Now let's talk about a geoarchaeologist. He was a person who researched on the lost civilization, the Luwian people. He was a German. And he was a geoarchaeologist who worked on these issues. And for ideological reasons, the Luwian people worked with lichens which closed this area. Sorry, the interpretation cannot continue because some vibrating sounds are coming. So now there are intense works for Luwian people so that we can reveal the information about them. And so I have listed the civilizations that influence Anatolia. As you can see here in the map, some of it isn't like that. For example, these civilizations do not follow each other in a linear way. Actually, they are intertwined with each other. The Lydia, the Ionian people, the Troy people, Phrygians, Hittites, Assyrian, Urartu people, Babels, Sumerian people, etc. They are all intertwined civilizations, we can say. And this approach should be kept in mind, I can say, while thinking about civilization. So let's have a look. The capitals of Ionians, Thales, Anaximenes, Anaximandros, the nature philosophers are the this is a cultural capital where these philosophers were born, and the important architects were born here. And Strabon's work, the architectural elements were told in the temple, in the Miletos temple. When we have a look to Urartu people, for example, let's have a look, the one castle, the castle in one. We have to write different 20 civilizations, started with Huriri people, going with Russians, for example. They all used volcanic tuff, for example, and they also used limestone here, calcite stones, because the main rocks are the volcanic stones here, and Gordion, for example, also another area where people used it. And you know, Yazılı Kaya. We have a lot of rumors about Midas, you know, the ears of Midas, who has the ears of a donkey. We don't know whether he committed a suicide or not, but I don't know it exactly, so I don't want to give some details about that. But it is the grave of Midas, and also the area where money was found, the Lydia, Karyan, Lika civilizations. We don't see basalts here, we don't see volcanic turf here. We mostly see white and colorful marbles. Pergamon, for example. When we say Pergamon, we see another we have to criticize someone else here. He is Karl Humann. He's an archaeologist, and actually he was also an engineer, not an archaeologist, but he was appointed for this duty. Especially he was there for a road construction, but during this construction, as he was instructed like that, he was a person who robbed Pergamon. Because, and unfortunately, after that, in the book, The Tears of Anatolia, according to things I learned from that, Osman Hamdi Bey, the famous museum person and archaeologist who created Fine Arts Institute, and he's also a painter, he was there, and he was also humiliated. You see another details in different books about that. It is in Berlin right now. The famous Zeus temple, some of it is in Pergamon, is in Berlin. And some of it, also the Aphrodisias antique city, some of it was stolen, but if it wasn't without the curiosity of Araguler, we cannot also know it, because Araguler is the one who accelerated the works around it and the excavations which made it famous. And he was taking the photos of Kemer Dam in 1958, and he has seen some relics, some ruins on the walls near the buildings and ruins. And then he took the photos and sent them to an archaeologist, to Kenan Erim, and he said that there has to be something there, And he has been there, so following his curiosity, and revealed the area. So he is the one who shall be respected too. Kenan Tevfik Erim. And today we can see the Aphrodisias here. And he loved Turkey, and he loved the stone quarries, in the antique stone quarries there, which was called as the gate, for example, the entrance doors. The entrance was also magnificent. And so, Ephesus, of course, we can talk a lot of things about that. But we can also say that till Harran, it is one of the first, I think, underground marble quarry in Ephesus. But of course, you can also see the agora embroidered with the stones of Kestanbol granites. Another thing stolen from Ephesus Museum, a 70 meters long temple, 40 meters of it is displayed in Vienna. It's called as Ephesus Museum, you can say. All of them was stolen and carried to abroad. So you can see it in Austria, in Vienna right now. So some of them are brought back to country. You can see in Antalya, for example, in Perge Maköllüm, the Heracles tombstone is taken back to Antalya Museum, for example, we can say.
Roman's first emperor, Augustus, says that I found Rome a city of brick and I leave behind one of marble. So what's behind these words? Rome is the leading city of the marble world. But we have richer reservoirs in Turkey. But there is a design love. Duyulmuyor. Duymuyorum.
Bakın İstanbul'a geldiğiniz zaman
When we come to Istanbul, we had no marbles. And in Istanbul, everybody knows this arch, and they are made of Istanbul Bakırköy stones. And mentioning Istanbul, there has been sorry, but the translation cannot be done because of there are two stones used. And I'm going to give Dolmabahçe example. And a minute ago, I have mentioned Rome, Hierapolis, Istanbul, and the stones, the vertical stones. But of course, when speaking of Rome, it's not only where it has, but other temples. They have brought different posts, columns to Rome, and even some of them have been carried from some places, and they are not equal in height. And Byzantium is the continuance of Rome, and it's a godlike bliss, I would say, and that's why the name hasn't been changed. and it's a symbol. And Hagia Sophia has been remembered when we speak of Byzantium. But under this adorable architecture, with my interpretation, there is a reality. There are always two architects mentioned. These architects, one of them is mathematician, and another one is a physicist. So the positive sciences are internalized, and the static and the design have been planned accordingly. That's why they used their physics and mathematics sciences. And 32 stones were used here, and still in Rome until Ottoman Empire or Selçuklu Empire. There are some examples, and this is from is the first work of art in Anatolia, in Kars. And Sivas Stone Gate and Divri, extraordinary work of art, and these are all volcanic turfs. And they can be processed easily, and the thoughts could be displayed easily. And this is another approach of belief from Selçuklu, and these are stones of alms, handouts, or charity stones, I would say, benevolence stones. So reference benevolence stones. If you have some money to give out, to give away, then you just leave it there, and then the people who need it will take it from there. However much they need, they will take it from there. So these are the Selçuklu handout stones. And this is Alaaddin Mosque, and then Kervansarais, Karatay Medrese, meaning the university, the medrese. And if you just put the Karatay period works of art in order, Karatay Medrese is going to be the leader one. And the Anatolia we should protect it as much as possible, because in the third Murat period, in 1595, in the Ottoman Empire, this was in 3 continents. 3 million square meters they had. But when we think of Anatolia, like 1/25 of that area, so 24 of them have gone, and 1 is left in our hands. We have a core, but we should know the value of this core, of this important area, and this Anatolia is a land worthwhile to die for. And we should have this awareness. It starts with Bilecik town, and this is Bursa. It's going to be a positive discrimination, I would say. Osman Gazi, Orhan Gazi, the first Murat, and Beyazıt the first, Mehmet the first Çelebi, and Murat the second. And Bursa has been capital, and also it has become it has shared the capital with Edirne. And we have the belief of water and belief, the culture of water and belief. And it's like a tree of sycamore. Why? Because that tree, as it says, I don't have any fruits, but my shadow is enough. So the shadow of this tree is really important. And without these plane trees, sycamore trees, they play an important role in Bursa. And another approach, Bursa, the beautiful Bursa, touched by a woman, because Nilüfer Hatun is the wife of Sultan Orhan, and when a woman's hand touches, the city becomes more beautiful. And this stream is called Nilüfer Stream, Nilüfer River, and it provides drinking water, fresh water, to the towns, some towns of Bursa. And two sultans, Orhan Gazi and Osman Gazi. Osman Gazi is the father, Orhan Gazi is the son. And Tophane in Gümüşlüktepe. Osman Gazi has his tomb, and there is one important point. There is a small detail, that is, where they lay, two temples have the same foundation over a monastery. But while they were building that, they could have thrown away those stones, but they did not. They built over a monastery. They built these tombs over a monastery by respecting the history, respecting the past. And this is the Osman Hamdi's famous painting, The Turtle Educator, and the Emir Sultan. Eyüp Sultan in Istanbul is as important as Emir Sultan in Bursa. And Murat II türbe or temple, the tomb, the shrine, and the upper part is open so that the rain comes in. So and with all these specialties and qualifications, Bursa, as a result of 14 year of study, Bursa is in the World Heritage List. And Edirne, the capitalship, has been shared with Bursa, but when we speak of Edirne, Mimar Sinan comes to mind, but before, Mimar Sinan's dome, and then the capital city, Istanbul, the old age city, Istanbul. Whatever you dig in Istanbul, you find another city in Istanbul. There are 37 shipwrecks. And this is Ahmet Ümit's comment. This is Mimar Sinan signed city. This is the creator who gave the silhouettes of Istanbul, today's silhouette of Istanbul. And these are Mimar Sinan's work of art, from masonry to arches. And this is Mimar Sinan bridge. And this is the Mimar Sinan's tomb, grave tomb, that he built it at the foot edge of the Sultan. So he just thought of the social status of himself and the Sultan. And the previous speaker talked about the stones and the three Dolmabahçe, Çırağan, and Topkapı. They have the land of 10,000 square meter, and our presidency palace is 7,500 square meters. And Marmara marble workmanship is at its peak here in Dolmabahçe. And the limestone, and there is no one quarry, and all of them are invaded, I would say. They are Maktralı marble and Trieste and Malta stone and Taksim monument. The stones were brought from abroad, and these are built from Ankara stones, the parliament building, the old parliament building, and Anıtkabir. The Turkish stones have been gotten together, and Atatürk's or all the natural stones were used in order to symbolize the time that comes after Ottoman Empire. And now we are ending it. Now we have little info, and this is our recent palace. And the palaces are all open to public, and they can be visited, they can be exhibited, displayed. And these are Turkish natural stones. And what is giving us pride is that they are 85% of our soft and hard stones are used. And so it's time to think about it. What if we did not have these stones? Then I couldn't have this presentation, and I would like to salute you with respect. Thank you for your patience and attention. Yeah, thousands of years couldn't be put in 1 hour, and thank you for your effort. And you are really worth more than young people, and thank you for your dynamism. And I would like to, you were in my jury as well during my doctorate degree, and I see you as a young and dynamic person, and I think you owe it to your wife as well, Aysel Hanım, and it's an example for young people as well, and she has been with him every time. And now it's time for the plate. Thank you very much.
Evet dostlar, şu anda yemekler bekliyoruz sizi. Yemeklerimiz hazır.